I wouldn't call it in general a discomfort, but at some level, it's some sort of a disregard towards the way people use plastic and your closeness to nature. That is probably would be the would, as you mentioned, was one of the reasons that you started your company. So you guys are trying to deal with this problem in a way that at least I didn't hear of before I was trying to research on what you guys are doing. Would you like to throw some light on what exactly are you guys doing to push this envelope of recycling the plastic better?
Yeah, sure. It has to do with something that I mentioned before, which is the natural degradation of plastics. So it is happening in nature, but it's just too slow. And what we're trying to do is to take this natural process and to scale it up and to make it accessible as an industrial process. So we are looking at the microorganisms that can decompose plastics, especially polyethylene. So we're focusing on the material polyethylene.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to find out what exactly inside those microorganisms does the job. It's probably an enzyme or a combination of enzymes. And we're gonna find that enzyme, hopefully. And
hope so too.
yeah, and use it in an industrialized process.
Okay.
It's a really long way to go, but if you manage to do it, you have to imagine that at the end of the day, you're going to have a bioreactor, and there you can throw in the plastics that also contain polyethylene if you want to recycle polyethylene or want to go back to polyethylene. And then you put in those enzymes. They can decompose polyethylene to a certain level, and what comes out are components of polyethylene. Could be, for example, ethylene glycol or similar shorter fragments, so oligomers. And those fragments could be reused for biofuels or for as waxes or oils or for just useful stuff.
Okay.
In the best case. In the other case, so if we don't manage to collect the outcome somehow, you can degrade polyethylene, which is also quite good, I would say.
Yeah, I am definitely not so much aware about how these processes work internally, but I think I was reading that these organisms are commonly known as mealworms, right? Or are you talking about some
worms? Yeah. I mean, like waxworms are one candidate. So that's also like was our main focus for most of the time. But there are also other microorganisms. So if you do research, you will find let's say about 30 microorganisms that are already been discovered that are decomposing polyethylene. And for plastics in general, it's over 90 microorganisms.
Oh, okay.
It works the best for PET, so for polyesters. And there is this French company called Carbios. They already industrialized the process for PET, and it works super well. So well, it's done for a different kind of plastic. It's not done yet, but
so at least the first step has been taken.
Yeah, that is actually really important for us, because this is the proof that at least the concept works. But this is not any kind of threat for us, because polyethylene is a whole different kind of plastic. It's a polyolefin, so it has a different chemical structure. It's actually way harder to decompose, which is not so good for us, but hopefully we still find a way. But the benefit compared to polyesters is that it also makes more sense for polyethylene, in my personal opinion, because as we said before, PET can be recycled mechanically quite easily. So still great, but it would be even more useful for polyethylene.